Alright, man. I didn't want to make this, but you guys requested it, and we're back with part 3. If you haven't seen the previous 2 videos, please go watch it. And relax, Joker isn't Osama bin Laden. That was just clickbait. Sorry about that, but we'll get to him later. Anyways, let's get this started. We're starting off with the head of the demon, Ra's al Ghul, the leader of the League of Assassins. One of Batman's most dangerous enemies, who is famous for cheating death through the Lazarus Pit. His historical counterpart is none other than Genghis Khan, or Chinggis Khan. My bad if I pronounced it incorrectly. He is arguably the most successful conqueror in history and the leader of the Mongolian Empire, which boasted one of the largest land-based armies ever. Here are the 3 reasons why I picked Genghis Khan. Number 1, immortality. Immortality is a theme that both characters share. This is evident for Genghis Khan, as his birth was regarded as divine. His death is shrouded in mystery. No one knows how he died or where he was buried. There have been multiple accounts on how he died, some very controversial. Regardless of how he died though, we know that his burial was kept secret. All of this, plus the fact that around 0.5% of men today carry his Y chromosome, meaning that his DNA is still kicking 750 years after his death. Moreover, statues of him have been built. He is held in high regard in Mongolia, and he has cemented his name in history. Like him or not, he has achieved a certain immortality, even if it's not the traditional sense. Similarly, Ra's al Ghul has achieved immortality thanks to the Lazarus Pit, which allowed him to live for centuries and even restore himself from death. Number 2, skilled and tactical warriors. Genghis Khan was a skilled warrior, military strategist, and a tactician, which led to his armies winning many important battles. Likewise, Ra's has centuries worth of experience and has expertise in at least 100 different fighting styles. He is also considered to be a master strategist, swordsman, and tactician, as he meticulously plans his exploits many months, even years in advance. Furthermore, as a side effect of skinny dipping into the Lazarus Pit multiple times, his strength, speed, stamina, agility, and durability have been enhanced, making him even a more formidable foe. Thirdly, both of them have access to a feared and infamous group of warriors who have sworn loyalty and would sacrifice their lives for their leaders. For Genghis Khan, it's the Mongol Horde, and for Ra's al Ghul, it's the League of Assassins. The Mongol Horde had a fearsome reputation for being large and a brutal fighting force. They conquered China, terrorized Eastern Europe, sacked Baghdad. In a similar light, the League at its apex had a global reach and was able to sack cities and had powerful political influence. Moreover, the members of the League of Assassins are some of the most dangerous assassins in the world, such as Lady Shiva, David Cain, Cheshire, Bronze Tiger, Silver Monkey, and Master Archer Merlin. Next, we look at Scarecrow, who is a constant threat for the Dark Knight. His real-life counterpart is Dr. Donald Ewan Cameron, the Canadian psychiatrist that was straight from a horror movie. He was involved in the Montreal brainwashing experiments during the Cold War, which were part of a larger project known as MK Ultra that was funded by the CIA. Now I'm picking Dr. Cameron for 3 simple reasons. Firstly, they both have a background in psychology, which has set a foundation for them to perform their sick research. Scarecrow, or Jonathan Crane, is an ex-professor of psychology who graduated from Gotham University, specializing in the psychology of fear, and is eventually transferred to Arkham Asylum to conduct his infamous fear-based experiments on the inmates and patients. Likewise, Dr. Cameron gained his medical degree from the University of Glasgow in 1924 and became a professor of neurology and psychiatry at Albany State Medical School. In 1943, he was appointed director at the infamous Allen Memorial Institute. Secondly, traumatic malpractices that causes fear. Both individuals committed psychiatric malpractices that left their patients traumatized and in a state of fear. In the case of Cameron, he administered electroshock therapy, hallucinogens such as LSD without consent of the patients and prisoners. As a result, this can lead to the patients having extreme fear and anxiety from the hallucinations, similar to Scarecrow's fear gas. In fact, Cameron's experiments were so bad that 50 years later, his patients are still struggling to cope with trauma and nightmares from their time at the Allen Institute. Don't believe me? Just listen to Gail Kostov, a former patient.
I have nightly nightmares where I would wake up screaming. I hear myself screaming, and it was a repeated nightmare where I see a tall man, and then I have this feeling of the cold on my forehead, which I later learned is the jelly applied where the electrodes go, and I feel the electricity going through my body, and people are holding me down, and then I wake up screaming. This is very vivid.
Wow, now that sounds like fear. Speaking of fear, this draws parallels to Scarecrow, who was a psychiatrist who specialized in phobias and subjected his patients to hallucinogenic fear toxins that brought out their worst nightmares and dealt emotional and psychological damages. Lastly, involvement in psychiatric institutions. Cameron was appointed founding director at the Allen Memorial Institute, also known as the Allen, which was a psychiatric hospital and research institute in Montreal, Canada. This was Cameron's kingdom, where he would conduct his bone-chilling experiments and malpractices at one of the leading psychiatric centers in the world, which is eerily similar to Arkham Asylum, a psychiatric hospital for the criminally insane, where Dr. Crane was transferred to and performed his fear-induced experiments on his patients. Both of these characters have a deep understanding of psychology and know how to utilize fear as a tool, so for these reasons, Dr. Cameron is the most historically accurate figure to be Scarecrow. Finally, the big man himself, the Joker. You guys kept asking about him. Do Joker next. When are you gonna do Joker? When y'all know how I feel about him. I made a whole video, go watch it. But irregardless of how I feel about this character, I'm gonna do it for you guys. Anyways, everyone knows who Joker is. So his real life counterpart is John Wayne Gacy, also known as the Killer Clown or Pogo the Clown. I know some of you guys suggested Charles Manson, which is a good shout, and I can see it, especially with the dynamic relationship of Manson and Squeaky, which resembles Joker and Harley's relationship, but I gotta give it to Gacy, and here's why. For those who aren't familiar with Gacy, he was a sadistic serial killer who dressed up as a clown and is responsible for one of the most gruesome crime sprees ever. The man was putting up Ted Bundy numbers, with roughly 33 bodies on him, most of them being boys and young men, because he was a closeted homophobic gay, I guess. He was found guilty and sentenced to death in 1994. Now, the reason I'm picking John Wayne Gacy is, firstly, clowns. Gacy committed some of his murders while dressing up in his Pogo the Clown costume, which is how he got the name Killer Clown. Reportedly, he would play a game with his victims and trick them into being handcuffed or having a rope tied around their necks. Before the crimes, he was a respected figure in his community who dressed up as a clown to entertain local children, which is comparable to Joker dressing up as a clown before committing crimes in Gotham, and clowns being a big theme not only in his attire, but in his associates' attire, like the Joker gang, who all dress up as clowns, and his love interest, Harley Quinn. Lastly, unlike Jeffrey Dahmer, who turned to religion before his death, Gacy showed no remorse or glimpse of progress, as some reports say that his last words were, "Kiss my you-know-what," which is similar to the Joker's attitude when he's gonna die, because he usually goes out telling a joke or laughing, showing no remorse for his evil deeds or even begging for his life. Ultimately, I'm picking Gacy because him and Joker are both crazy homicidal clowns. If you guys made it to this part of the video, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate it heavy. All the love that you guys been showing. I really didn't plan to keep this going. I thought it was gonna be like a like a one video wonder type thing. Like I said, I enjoy making these. Let me know what you guys think, if I got something wrong, or what you want to see next, or any feedback really. I just like appreciate it, I guess. Yeah, aside from that, stay safe.